And we just got to find a way to get our best 11 players along with those guys on the field.
Do you feel like you can do more this year since you're not teaching everybody everything?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think that we did pretty substantial stuff last year. I think each year your team is different relative to the personnel you have. I think what you have to do is take the players you have available and just find a way to get your best 11 on the field, because defense is about winning matchups, tackling one-on-one, rushing a passer one-on-one, covering a guy one-on-one. Those are the things that are critical, and we want to put the guys for us that can make plays in position to affect the game. And I think Holloman was a good example of that last year, the way we played him. So we've got some guys that we feel like can impact the game, and we just got to find a way to get those guys on the field all at the same time and, work to play as a unit.
What makes Sheldon so effective?
Well, first of all, he's a guy that works extremely hard at his craft. He's an intelligent guy that can improve over the things he did yesterday. He takes a lot of pride in himself and his work, so all the intangibles are there for him. And then you combine that with his explosive power off the ball, his lateral movement, his ability to play with his hands, his acceleration off of blocks. I mean, then you start looking at the measurables he has. You end up with the complete package as a player, and that's when you get guys that end up being, the leaders of your team and being, productive players for you.
You lost some guys early to the NFL draft. Was he thinking about it, do you think?
Well, I think that what we do with our players is we always go through the process, and I think that it's important that they know where they are, from that standpoint, because that is their career. And from there, each case is different based upon, maybe where they are, where they can go too, because a lot of times you can actually improve your value or your status by staying in school and moving up the ladder, because then you become a senior. So each case is different. Obviously, he went through the proper, channels, but right now he's got a chance to get his degree, graduate, and be a viable part of our team and what we're trying to do. So we're obviously happy he's here.
You've obviously had a long relationship with Shaq and Josh.
Mm-hmm.
What growth have you seen from them now that they've had a year in the program?
I mean, I'm really proud of those guys. I mean, number one, academically, they're taking care of themselves, doing a really good job. They're handling themselves as men. They're making the kind of choices you want players to make in your program. So the off-the-field things and the academic things, been very proud of them and what they've done. And then on the field, as you mature and get older, you can develop yourself. And I think both of those players have worked hard at their craft and the things that they do relative to their skill set to become better players. So we're obviously going to funnel those guys into our 11 players that are on the field and let them contribute to what we're trying to do. So really proud of them, and I think it's a good lesson of how you just keep working with players and making them understand, the choices they make can affect their future. And how can you improve over the things you've done, say yesterday, or maybe the choices you made over the last couple weeks? And those guys have done a really good job with that.
How does Josh's height and athleticism affect the game?
Well, I think anytime you get guys that are long and have length, it disrupts the play. Whether it's a run game and you can create separation with your hands on a blocker, whether it's in the pass game where you can reroute guys and disrupt them from getting down the field, or maybe even covering a guy where because of your length you can get in there and glove the ball or bat the ball out before it gets there. So I think anytime you get guys that have length at their position, it makes it more difficult to attack that position.
Does it help you that you've had experience going against this Auburn offense, and those guys have too, kind of get ready for this opener?
Well, I think that, first of all, they're one of the top teams in the country. They're a very talented team. They're well coached. It's really going to get down to, playing blocks up front. It's going to get down to making sure that we leverage the ball and have good force, and that we tackle the runner. And those are all things that are important to be effective against the run. I think the biggest thing there is we've just got to continue to work hard on our technique and work hard on getting our best 11 players on the field to play a team like that, because they are talented. We're going to have to make plays one-on-one.
Todd, how much advantage was it for Shaq and Josh that they'd already had a year playing in your system?
Yeah, I think that it helped them in the sense they knew the terminology, and I think for that, basically every year we start over again. So really, when they first came in here, it was like starting all over again, learning the system. I think the hardest thing for those two guys was having to sit out last year and not be a part of the team on Saturdays, whereas you're working, Monday through Friday to develop yourself for the game on Saturday, but they weren't a part of that. And I think guys miss that. And what happens is I think it can also humble you in a sense that you kind of appreciate maybe the things you had before that situation came up. And I think it can make you hungry moving forward to, show people what you can do, show people that you can be a productive player in the program and do the things that make everyone proud. So I think those things are part of maturing, and I think those things are things that those two guys have kind of realized and developed, over the last year.
I haven't seen Josh in that star role before.
Right.
Do you keep him there? Do you kind of change some things up?
I think he can play anywhere. He can play nickel. He plays nickel, plays safety. Right now, he plays our star position, which is really like an outside linebacker. His length helps him there. His speed helps him there. And his ability to cover the slot receiver. So all of those things are a positive for him. I think the fact that he's been able to gain weight since he's been here and some muscle. I mean, he's a bigger guy. And anytime you can add size to a position like that, it benefits you as a defense.
How would you assess, Coach talked about it a little bit at the end, how would you assess Fields' conditioning right now?
Well, I think he's a work in progress. I think he's a guy that is very excited to be here. He's got talent. He's eager to learn. So I think what we have to do is continue to work to develop him and find a way to fit him into the front seven that with the guys that we have to get our best 11 guys on the field. So that's what we'll do over the next really 2 weeks is work to develop his fundamentals, continue to improve his conditioning, and there's a great benefit when a team is together during the summer working out. Guys are going to push guys every day, and your leaders take over. So I think that we have really good leadership on our team, and I think the benefit has been the conditioning of our team, to now. I think a guy like Devontae is very eager to be a part of that team and what we're trying to do. So we're just going to mesh him with the guys we got and see how we can get our best 11 guys out there.
What does he look like now versus 2012 TCU when he was dominating?
Well, you can see the talent. I mean, he's explosive off the ball. He's got lower body power. He can play blocks. He's got good hands. He can create separation. He kind of he understands pass rush from a field standpoint. So he has the tools. What we've got to do is develop him, develop his craft, and really just try to get him familiar with our system and what we do.
When you were losing Lorenzo, really Fields is perfect for that.
Well, we had some other guys that, when you look at our team, first of all, Keith Brown was a guy we moved, to outside backer. Trayvon Young is a guy that plays outside backer. Henry Famamua is another guy. So, I mean, we've had some guys that can play outside backer. I think that anytime you can add a guy that's been productive on the field, from a Division I school, it adds depth to your team. And you're always looking to find ways to affect the game with those guys. And obviously he's a guy that can affect the game. So what it does is it gives you a combination of players that you can put on the field. And we'll work hard to fit him with the guys that we got.
Was he, the fact that he got here a week ago or 3 or 4 days ago, was that later than you guys thought he was going to get here?
I didn't really know when he would get here, from that standpoint. So we made sure that we prepared for if he wasn't here, because really during spring practice he was not here. So we had to go through spring practice as if he wasn't here. But we really do that with every position because you're going to have injury. And when injury happens, who's the next guy up? So we kind of went through that whole scenario during the spring. But in saying that, we also planned to be able to play when he got here and how we can move guys around and that kind of thing. So now that he's here, we're going to work hard with him to catch him up with the other players and give him a chance to be a part of, our front seven.
A guy like Young, how does he approach when everybody knows Field is coming in? Field
Yeah,
is
well,
supposed to be
I've
great?
talked to Trayvon, and he's a guy that's really improved himself. He's explosive off the ball. You can see where he has become a little bit stronger player because he's a year older. He knows the system a little bit better because he's a year older. He's hungry and excited to play this year for us and make an impact. And I really like the room that I have from an outside backer standpoint. I think those guys work well together. They care about each other. So he knows that he's going to be a part of what we're trying to do. He's competing with everybody else. The best players are going to play, but we're also we're always going to try to find ways to get players on the field. So if you make plays in practice and become productive, we'll get you on the field.
And Keith, is he? I mean,
Yeah,
must
Keith.
be the most we've seen of Keith, I guess.
For us, no question. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Keith is a guy that, our first year he wasn't able to go through spring practice, so that kind of put him behind a little bit. This year he's healthy. He went through spring practice. He's got a physical skill set that can help us at that position with his ability to run, his ability to come off the edge. So we're going to work hard to continue to develop himself as an outside backer and try to find ways to get all those guys on the field as best as you can, because Keith's a good leader. He's a guy that works hard. The players on the defense respect him because of his skill set and what he can do. So we'll just continue to find ways to get all those guys on the field together.
How do you think Fields will deal with scrutiny on him, given kind of his history the last year or so?
Well, I think that, number one, he's a guy that is ready to move forward. He's a guy, since he's been here for us over the last few days, you can see he's very eager to get started and play football. I think that the best thing for him is to understand that he has a second chance to be a productive person in society. He has a chance to develop himself in the classroom, get a degree. He has a chance to get an education, which one day he will need because football ends for everybody, and be a productive person in society. So he has an opportunity to continue to reach the dreams that he has. And, it's important that everybody learns from the mistakes that they make and try to benefit from that, learning that, hey, these are the things I need to do moving forward with my choices to allow me to be a productive person.
Did you, when you were recruiting him, did you guys sell him on that girls' system would be ideal for him?
Sure. I mean, I think that if you look at the players that we've had in this system, the players we had here last year, and where those players are today, and the need that we have at that position right now, it was pretty easy for him to see where he could be an impact and be a part of what we're trying to do. So he's looking forward to competing with the other guys that we got in the room to make plays and play on Saturdays.
Todd, we can talk about Rackett just for a second in terms of his leadership or influence on this defense. What you expect from him?
Yeah, Sheldon is a guy that is a tremendous leader. It starts with himself as far as he comes to work every day, whatever he's doing. He works hard. The players respect him because of his physical skill set, along with that when he says something, he kind of means it. So he does carry a big stick with the players. And, anytime you can get players like Sheldon that become the voice of the coaches in the locker room, and when you're not around, it's a big thing. And I think we got really good leadership on our defense. And those guys have taken ownership in becoming a team and becoming better. So obviously we're glad he's here, and he's going to be a very productive player in what we're trying to do.
One last question. The changes you've gone through, how will they, in the short term, challenge you? In the long term, maybe be beneficial in terms of the losses you have and the guys you're getting?
Yeah, I think every year you start over with your team because every year it's different. So I think that's why it's important from a philosophical standpoint. Defensively, you can be interchangeable. You can be flexible with your players, because at the end of the day, defense is about winning one-on-one matchups, whether it's up front on a block, whether it's outside covering, whether it's in space tackling a runner. I mean, it gets down to one-on-one. And the way you play good defense is you win one-on-one matchups. So what we've got to do is find a way to get our best 11 players on the field that they can affect the game.
Coach, how good is Burgess, not only as a player, but as one of your leaders?
Yeah, I think James has done a tremendous job of of working to improve himself from a mental standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. Since we've been here, he's one of our best leaders on the team right now. He takes ownership in the defense. He's become a very hard worker on the field. He's bought into our system and what we do. He's made a lot of plays for us over the last year and impacted the game. And I think that he sees how the choices that he's made off the field, from his preparation in the classroom to the work he puts in the weight room, all of those things, along with the skill set he has naturally, he's become a better player. And now that it's kind of like his time to be the leader, he's kind of really stepped up, moved forward, and he's taken ownership in the defense, along with Kelsey and Rankins and some other guys, to make sure that we work hard every day in practice and that we work to improve our skill set so that we can reach the goals that we have. Very glad he's here, and certainly expecting big things out of him.
Coach,
Given the talent you lost,
I'm sorry, what?
what's your initial assessment of Fields?
Talented guy, eager to get started, looking forward to learning the playbook, wants to be a part of our team and wants to be a part of our unit from an outside backer standpoint. Very excited to have an opportunity to continue to reach the goals that he has as a young man. So we're excited. We're only day 2, so we're certainly excited to get him on the field and practicing.
given the talent you lost last year's group, is it fair to have high expectations for this group?
Those are actually coming from y'all. We always have high expectations. I mean, we're always working to be as good as we can be, and at the end of the day, we want to play as hard as we can and work to be as good as we can play every snap. And the way you do that is you work hard in practice, you work every period to get better. If things don't go your way on a play, you move forward to the next play and try to improve. And that's the mindset we're going to have. And I think we have the leadership to do that. And we're just going to work hard to try to, play as hard as we can, be productive, and find ways to affect the game.
Appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. Hey, bud, what's up?
How are you?
Good, you?
Good?
Yeah, everything's good.
First 2 days?
So far, yeah, we ain't got pads on yet.
That's right.
Coach, we heard earlier in the week that people are really buying into the Petrino system in the second year now. How do you see that on the defensive end?
Well, I think that, one, we lost a lot of talented players last year. However, we have some talented players coming back. So what you have to do every year is assess the players that you have defensively, and how can you get the best players on the field. Your personality defensively changes each year based upon the players that you have. So we'll probably be a little different this year than last year. But at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to, being fast, being physical, and being aggressive. And those things are important. We're always going to work hard to stop the run. You want to work to eliminate big plays in what you're doing, and then try to hold people to a low number and create turnovers. And that's something that we did last year in creating turnovers, and we've done it in the past. So we understand that. We have good leadership on our defense. The players have bought into our system. So we've just got to work hard every day to improve and find a way to get our best 11 players on the field. You're welcome. You're welcome. You good?
Thank you.
Yep.